Okay, welcome guys. So today's project is replacing the exhaust. Okay, I'm switching the existing stock exhaust that comes on the bike for an identical exhaust, also a Royal Alloy exhaust. I'm not upgrading to a performance exhaust. It's just a straight swap, just for cosmetic purposes, because mine's gone a bit rusty. Now I have thought, I've given consideration to upgrading to like a Tasso or a Scorpion or a PM tuning exhaust, a performance exhaust. Okay, but the issue with that is unless you're going to upgrade other components like say the air filter, or you're going to alter the mapping on the ECU, as I understand it, if you just put a performance exhaust on there and do nothing else, you're not going to get any extra performance. All right, I think to get the extra performance from those exhausts, you have to play around with the air intake, and to get the most from that, you've then got to alter the fuel injection, which you do through remapping the ECU to get the ratios right. At least that's how I understand it so far. And I'm not going down that route just yet. So for me, I'm just doing a standard switch, or should I say I'm switching for a standard exhaust, just for cosmetic reasons, because mine's got a little bit rusty, all right? And I managed to get my hands on a bargain, newish exhaust for 50 quid. So I'm going to bring the camera in and have a look at that, and we'll have a look at what's involved. Hopefully it's going to be straightforward. Don't want to get this wrong, because obviously if I get the exhaust wrong, it's going to cause major problems. So fingers crossed it's going to be straightforward, and let's have a look. Okay, so here's the exhaust. I've taken the right hand panel off, by the way, and you can see that my exhaust is a little rusty, a little corroded, still performing fine of course, but it just doesn't look very nice. Okay, you see that? Now look underneath and we'll see the same thing on the pipe here. Okay, you see that? It's a little rusty all the way along. Doesn't look the best. And that's after 6,000 miles, right? So 6,000 miles, that's how your standard Royal Alloy exhaust is gonna look. It's performing all right. I'm not sure how much life it's got left in it though. Now over here, I've got an exhaust that's done approximately, I think it's about 800 or 900 miles now. I bought this exhaust off my scooter buddy Gaz, and you'll see there it's got the GT125 RA stamp on it, albeit upside down there because I'm looking at it from the other angle. But look at the quality on that, look at the condition on it. Now, Gaz, I believe, did ACF 50 this. He sprayed it with ACF 50, and maybe that's kept it looking in tip-top condition. I think this exhaust has done about 800 or 900 miles, I seem to remember him saying. And you can see the difference, right? So it just looks a lot nicer, and it's got the heat shield on there as well. So that's what we're going to switch it for. Now I'm hoping it's going to be straightforward, all right? Over here, I've got a little metal component, and I actually ordered a gasket, because on the diagram there's a gasket that goes on here, okay? And it looked like this on the diagram. It's a gasket, so I ordered it. And that's what's come, but it's metal. That is not a gasket, or at least it's not what I was expecting. So either they've sent me the wrong part, or I ordered the wrong thing, one of the two. I'd be surprised if that is the correct part, okay? Okay, so let's have a look at what's involved in removing the old exhaust, okay? So we've got two bolts here, okay? We've got this one, and then a little higher up, we've got this one here. And then there's a third one, which is just down inside here. Okay, can you see that one sticking out there? That's the one that we've got to remove there, right down. Let's see if we can find that with my finger there, right? That one there. You see that? So if we come underneath, we'll get a better view of that and see what's involved. So there it is there. There. You see that? Okay, just hiding under there. So that needs to come out as well. And then moving along the pipe here, what have we got? We get to here. Right, now this is your exhaust sensor, or your lambda sensor. And that's got a little nut on it here that needs unscrewing. Can you see that? Okay, so that's going to need undoing. So that's the lambda sensor from the top angle, right? I'm looking down, and you can see that this cable that's attached to it here, okay, it comes up and this is it here, right? It comes out here. Now I've cable tied it already on there, but I'm going to snip that cable tie, and then I'm going to disconnect it here so that when we undo the nut, this isn't rotating and getting all tangled up, right? It's free to move and free to rotate as we undo the nut. And then I'm going to keep that nice and safe, making sure it gets no dirt or any, you know, doesn't pick anything up, because they are pretty sensitive, all right? That's their job, is to be sensitive. And then what else? Underneath here, I'm going to get back under here, we've got the pipe. Follow that pipe along and we can see, hopefully, where it actually connects to the exhaust manifold here, right? So look at that, we've got two nuts there either side. Now, if you've watched one of my previous videos, you'll have seen that one of those nuts came loose, all right? And I actually found it before it fell off. But we've got a nut either side, okay? One there, and one there in the top corner. So they've got to come undone, and that's what we're going to start by disconnecting the sensor first, and then we're going to come under here and disconnect these. I believe they're a 13mm socket, so we'll give that a try first. I'll disconnect the sensor first, and then we'll undo these, and then we'll disconnect the brackets afterwards, all right? As I've not got an exact size spanner, so I'm just going to try the adjustable on there. It's tight, it's really tight. Am I missing something there? Or is it just stuck fast? Now, with it being the sensor, is it okay to put a bit of WD-40 on there or not? Do we want to risk that with it being a very sensitive sensor? Or not? That does not want to move, guys. WD-40 on a Lambda sensor, yes or no? So guys, just googled it, and it seems that if I carry on using the open-ended adjustable spanner, especially with it being an adjustable spanner, I risk stripping the bolt and ruining it. So the general consensus seems to be use heat to break down the rust and the corrosion and to loosen the nut with a blowtorch. Now, I've not got a blowtorch. So as an alternative, what you can do, which I'm going to try, is to start the engine, let it run for a few minutes, let the heat of the exhaust heat it up and see if that helps to loosen it. And then the question of whether I can use WD-40 on there, it's a risk, right? Because it may well affect the sensitivity of the sensor, the oxygen sensor. But let's try heating it up first and see what happens. So I'm going to have to re-plug that in, the sensor here, and then start the engine, let it run for a few minutes and see how we go. All right. Okay, so I've let it warm up for a little bit, and the exhaust now is red hot. And all I'm going to do is just try it again. Put these gloves on. These are thermal liners that you can wear under your normal gloves when you're riding, but I'll just put them on in case I burn myself on the pipe. Okay, so let's just give this a little try and see if that heat has helped. Still feels like I'm going to strip the bolt a little bit with this spanner. I've just touched the pipe as well, so it's a good job I've got these gloves on, right? Get it as tight as we can on there. There we go, done it. So a little bit of heat did it, guys. Now I'm going to unclip the sensor again at the top so that the rotation isn't going to be a problem. Then we can get that off. So how cool is that, guys? Just using a little bit of heat did the job. Then I've got to unclip that sensor there now. I'm just going to stick my end of my scissors in there just to push that down. Yeah, lift it up and out it pops. Right, so I'm just going to undo the sensor and we can crack on. Hopefully it's plain sailing from here, guys. Yep. You see how the whole cable is rotating, which is why I undid it. It's pretty hot as well, guys, so I'm just being extra careful here. That's impressive though, right? Just a little bit of heat from the exhaust loosened the whole thing. So very, very cool. Thanks, Google. Oh, yeah, it's hot. Still hot. I'll put my glove back on. So when we get this out now, we're going to have to be careful that we don't contaminate the end, the actual sensor, right? I'm just going to rotate that a little bit, let this rotate as well. There we go. Okay, so that's free. Can you see that? Be really careful with it, guys, not to get any contaminants or dirt on there. There's the lambda sensor. I'm going to put that to the side, nice and clean, nice and safe. Okay, so now I'm going to crawl underneath and try and undo the exhaust manifold. So what size socket do we need on that? Someone said 13mm online. Let's try and get under there, see if we can get the camera under there first. Get a view of this. There we go. I'm trying to get under here with a 13mm socket. It's an extremely awkward angle to get in that. Let's give it a try. Feels like it's moving. Yep. We're good. Spin that off there. It's still hot. The exhaust is still hot, so I'm just being a little bit careful here. That's one off. That's the one that I replaced recently, which was the new one. Now this other one looks like a nightmare to get to. Let's stick that up there and see if we can get it. So these don't feel very tight at all, guys. It's already moving, and definitely something you want to check on a regular basis is those manifold nuts. It's coming off okay. I hope it's going to be easy to get them back on. There we go. Second one off. All right. So now all I've got to do is undo these three and we should be able to pull the whole thing away. Should be straightforward. Okay, so this top one here is a 13mm socket. The bottom one, that was easy. The bottom one is 10mm. 10mm socket. Easy, straightforward. That's a little bit in the way there, right? It's a funny angle. Can we do it without the extension bar? It's probably a bit easier without the extension bar. Yep. I'm thinking we need a spanner on the back of that one, because that's rotating, so I need to get under there with a spanner, which is holding it to this kind of wheel arch. All right. That's it, guys, I got it. So I'm just holding the back of it with a little closed-ended spanner there. There we go. So we've got a washer on each side. You've got a washer on each side of the bolt, and then you've got a little nut that goes on the back there. Okay. Put that to one side, that was easy enough. So that's a 10mm. What did I say that one was? 13mm. Yeah, we'll undo that. So after this, there's just one more, and that's tucked down on the inside there, which should be straightforward. Okay, so the next one is down here. That's where my fingers are, under there. So that there is what we want to undo. You see? But this pipe is in the way. So how the hell do we get onto there with the socket? So of course we can't use a socket on that one. We've got to use a 13mm closed-ended spanner. Right, should be straightforward now. Yeah, straightforward. Crack that open and the whole exhaust now should come away. You see all them bits falling down, all the rust falling down. So guys, after about 5 minutes of fiddling, I've removed this nut. The third thing that was holding the exhaust on, you see the spindle there? Here you can see it, just trying to get the light on it there, right? So on the back of that, if we go around to the other side of the bike, I'll show you this. We can see you see that under there? There. Okay, that is an Allen head, or like an Allen key. It looks like it anyway. But that was spinning, that was rotating. Is it an Allen key? I can't quite see at this angle. But as that was rotating around, yes, it is an Allen key, look. As I was turning the nut, that was rotating, so you really need to get a good fat Allen key in there and hold it still. There. Hold it still whilst you're undoing that nut, otherwise you'll be there forever. Took me a couple of minutes there to figure that out. And look at all the rust that's fallen down, all the crud that's fallen down just undoing that one. So now we should be able to lift the whole exhaust away. Okay, we'll come back around this side. Let's have a go. forwards off the spindle. We've got everything undone. Undone. Yep. I've got to push that spindle back, okay, to get that undone. Now we should be good to go. Yeah, you've got to push that spindle right back. So there's like a little threaded spindle. Now is that free? That whole thing should wriggle free now. Yeah, the whole pipe is going to come. There we go, I've got to tilt it a little bit to get that free, and the whole thing comes away. Okay. And there we have it, guys, there's the old pipe. Gonna lay that down next to the new one and let's compare the two. Wow, look at the difference. So it just shows you, right? I'm sure that Gaz, who I bought this off, used ACF 50 to protect it. Okay, he's very, very particular about things like that. He's our Gaz. And look at the difference, right? Very, very protected. Almost like a brand new exhaust, right? I think that's done about 800 or 900 miles, I seem to remember him saying. Okay, compared with our unprotected 6,000 mile exhaust. Look at the difference. That is incredible, right? Absolutely incredible. So definitely doing the right thing to switch these over. And if we look here, guys, look. There, you can see, is that where the gasket goes? I'm guessing there's a gasket that's still connected to the other side of that that's stuck. But that is just like an imprint of where it's been. So maybe that thing that I bought was the right thing. We'll investigate that further in a minute. So guys, coming back to this gasket here, you see it? All of you that were screaming at the screen, shouting, of course it's a gasket, that's the gasket. Well, I know that now, okay? So you can see it's made of some sort of alloy, and although it doesn't fit around the pipe here, okay, it is the exact same internal diameter, right, when you put it on there. So this part actually slots into the opening on the cylinder head, and then when you bolt this to it, it actually crushes it nice and tight, and you get a perfect seal. So that, my friends, is the exhaust gasket. And I was just not expecting it to be that shape. I thought it'd be the shape of the flange here, right, which you get on some scooter engines, but it's not. That is the gasket, made of some kind of alloy that just crushes down when you tighten it up, okay? So let's get that slotted into place and get it all put back together. So this is the old gasket, as you can see. It's perished. It looks like a spring, but it's not. It's the old gasket. You need to make sure you fully remove that from the manifold connection on the cylinder head. And as I say, it looks like a spring, but it's not. It's just a perished gasket. So make sure you use your fingers or the edge of a screwdriver. You'll find it just sat up in that opening there, and that's where you insert your new gasket there. I used a little bit of Vaseline just to hold it in place because it is a little bit fiddly to put the new one in there. Okay guys, so we're going to try and do it in reverse. Going to try and offer it up, and I'm wondering if I should take this heat shield off maybe first, just to make it a little bit more manageable. There you go. Pop that to one side. Okay, so we're going to try and offer this up. We're going to try and get them two holes positioned where it connects at that end, at the same time trying to get these three in line. So I guess the first thing is to try and get this one here onto the spindle, the threaded spindle underneath, and then work from there. There it is. Up there, and that there. That's it. That's how we do it, guys. In. Ta-da! Perfect. Right, so I've supported it on the middle just by pushing the spindle back through that middle bracket there, the one that's hidden underneath. Now I've got a little movement and I can try and get this end connected with those two. I think they're 8mm thread bolts. So yeah, we'll just slightly out, so I'm just going to manoeuvre that around. We're in. 1, 2, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to put them nuts back on. Connect. Guys, on second thoughts, before I go underneath and reconnect at the manifold, we're just going to have a go at putting these bolts back in fairly loose, not fully tightened. So I'll put them in first, just to keep it nice and steady and make sure there's no movement. I'm in. There we go, that's in. So I need to wind that in there. Is that the right one? Yeah, and then that's the one with the washers that goes through here. Down here. Right, so we've got a washer, goes through, and I've got the nut on the back. Okay, so I'm going to get underneath, have a little go at just tightening these ones, and we should be good. Should be straightforward. So what do I need? I need my socket, I need my extension bar, and a little bit of patience, and we should be good to go. One on. Just tightening that up with my fingers to make it nice and easy to tighten. So let's see if you can see this. I've put one in already, you see that one? And now I'm coming in on this side. So I can't actually see what I'm doing, that's the tricky bit. Is that it? Are we on? Nope. Very, very tricky to see this from this angle. Guys, can you see this? I'm trying to think how I got it off, and I got it off with my fingers. So I'm going to try and feed it on with my fingers. Is it on? Is it on? Are we there? So near yet, so far, guys. So guys, sorry I disappeared there for a moment. Camera turned itself off due to low battery. But you see now in the middle of the screen, there's a silver hexagonal nut, and I've just managed to do it. All I did was I pulled these cables slightly to the side, reached my hand in here, okay, and just fed the bolt on from underneath this way. And I've just managed to get it on, so I'm tightening it now by hand, and we're going to tighten it up as best we can by hand. And then I'm going to have to get under there with the socket and just see if we can get that tightened up. There it is in the middle, you see that? Okay, I'll just try and get back under with the socket and see if we can just tighten that up. It's just a weird angle, right? It's a weird angle, very fiddly. But I want to make sure it's on tight. And it's not going to come undone. There we go, that's tightening up nicely. Job's a good one, guys, job's a good one. Okay guys, so you can see down there on the exhaust pipe here is the female thread for the lambda sensor to go in. I'm going to try and feed my hand under there and try not to touch it. Should be straightforward. We're just going to feed that in. It's a threaded female connector there. So what we need to do in fact is position it so that it's ready to go into the the other side, so I think it fed through there like that, and we're feeding it in there. Yeah. Sorry guys, you can't see that on camera, but I'm just feeding it down so that the cable is routed in the right place. Stick that in there, and we should be good to start tightening. I'm just going to let the cable rotate freely as we do it. Try not to pull on it or get it into awkward positions. That's it, we've got it, we've got it. So I'm just going to let that thread, that cord, just rotate with it so that we're not pulling on it, we're not straining it. You see that? Not the best camera work, I know, but I'm trying to do it single-handed. I'm just going to nip that up a little bit. Tighten that up a little bit. Again guys, not the best to use these adjustable spanners, but they're okay. Don't want to over tighten, although it was mega tight before, wasn't it? I think we're good there guys. So sensors in. Just going to reconnect the plug at this end. Making sure there's no crap in there. And we're good. Okay. So all we need to do now is start the scoop, make sure it's good, and then we can nip them bolts up finally and put the heat shield on. So guys, the moment of truth. Let's see if we've made a mess or if we're okay. All seems good. Alright, so all we've got to do now is just nip them bolts up, make sure everything's tight, nip that third one up underneath, and pop the heat shield back on, which is straightforward. And if you are interested in buying one of these exhausts, there's lots of them second-hand available now. Just go on like some of the Royal Alloy websites or Facebook pages, that kind of thing, and you will see them, because a lot of people switch these standard stock exhausts for Scorpions, for Tassos, or different performance exhausts. So you will find them relatively new with not many miles on if you just want to swap out an old rusty one like I've done. And why wouldn't you? You know, at the end of the day, you want your scooter to look great, and I think you'll agree it looks a lot better than it did before. Guys, thanks for watching as always. Don't forget to subscribe if you like the videos, it's appreciated. Thank you.